I want to get to Kevin, who's calling in from California. Kevin, your call is very different from our last conversation. So what's up, man?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for promoting naturalism in this show. I feel it's very underrepresented. We hear a lot about humanism and not so much about a naturalistic worldview. So that's very important to me.
Hell yeah.
I'd like to preface by asking both of you, do you think it is more or less probable that intelligent, technologically advanced life forms exist elsewhere in the universe?
Dan, do you want to start?
It's possible. I have no idea how probable. I don't know if anybody can really say with certainty how probable, because the argument I always fall back to is, the data set that we have for life existing is one, and that's here on Earth. We haven't really confirmed that anywhere else. We, hypothetically know that it's possible on some other places in our solar system, so different kinds of life. And we understand besides carbon-based life, there could be other forms of chemical life. But yeah, I don't know how probable it is. I would agree it's possible, though. I haven't seen anybody demonstrate that it is completely impossible. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I would say I don't want to have a fallacy of composition or division where I'm kind of inferring a part and extrapolating it to the whole of things, which I think is a thing a lot of people do. But I would say I do believe aliens exist, especially to that level. I'll try to take my Star Trek biases out of here, but I kind of relate this to the agnostic atheist thing, with the distinction between an agnostic atheist. It's I believe in aliens, right? I don't know that's the case. So I would take an agnostic position, but I still believe in them. I still have a positive belief that is the case. I have no real knowledge of that. Now, we could use the Drake equation if someone thinks that's viable or things like that. You could do all those things, and that could be good for you and all that. I just think when you do that, you might kind of run into these fallacies of composition or division. And I think it's just like anything else. It's best to kind of go where the purported evidence leads you. And kind of depends on how you view that now. You might be able to say, dude, just based on the sheer size, there's no way it's not. And that you could go that route. And I don't think I'd fault you maybe. And then I'd have some problems epistemologically getting there and stuff, or the method maybe. But yeah, I think it's to me, it seems to be that would be the reasonable case, but it also doesn't change my worldview if I find out I'm wrong. So.
Okay, well, that
kind of under that.
My story. I know you guys are limited on time. I'll keep it brief. So my story and the background. I'm an atheist. I consider myself very skeptical. But when I was a teen, I had an experience that is still unexplainable to me. Me and a friend of mine. My friend is deceased now, so unfortunately he's not around to tell this with me. But briefly, basically, we're in rural Northern California, and he and I were smoking pot on the porch one night, as we did often. But we both experienced this phenomena where it seemed basically what happened was the sky, for lack of a better word, it darkened. There was a cloak. The stars that we saw above us were black and white, which could have been natural. But then we both saw a flash of bright white light, and both of us experienced a significant loss of time, about 3 to 4 hours, and awoke at the same time. And I attributed that to kind of maybe an extraterrestrial phenomenon, and he attributed it to more of a spiritual or religious type of experience. And we both kind of agreed not to talk about it after that. But I've kind of been left with this as an atheist, as a skeptic, how to explain this and kind of investigating other alien abduction experiences and things like that. And so that's kind of a big gap for me.
I hear you, Kevin. I'm going to be honest with you, though. It's hard for me to accept that story when you start off saying we were both smoking pot. And that's nothing against you. That's nothing against your ability to be skeptical or reasonable. But if you're telling me that you're doing hallucinogens, then that tells me that you weren't in the most sober state of mind. And so it's going to be hard for me to assume that your interpretations are going to be necessarily accurate to what's actually happening in reality. That's the first thing that I'm going to go to. It seems like that's going to be the common denominator if you guys are both smoking for me. But
I would say the same thing too. It would be, that seems to be the control, that if you take that control out, I would be wondering if you're like, look at your perception, right? Mm-hmm. Your perception's changed, regardless of what people want to view, THC or how it affects people drastically very differently. I've witnessed people like as if they were
to be fair,
on
though,
crack or something, right? It's like it affects people very differently, but some people are very. I'm sorry?
I've smoked pot before and since, and never had a comparable experience to this, though. This was a one-time thing. I mean, so it's kind of an anomaly.
It's going to be hard to make an accurate judgment of your experiences during and after the fact. I've definitely had like an experience or two on pot that was like super, super crazy. I thought I was like dying. Like when I ate a brownie one time, and it was unreal. It was the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. And I think if I was a Christian, I would have said I was taken control by demons at that moment, because that's sure what it felt like. But like the truth was, I had a substance in me that made me experience that thing. So I can't explain it as anything else besides that.
Well, yeah, and then also we have the kind of the aspect of that people in sober aspects are doing this, they have these kind of experiences, or we can go to near death or any of these things that they can't explain, ghost, all these types of things, where they're in a right frame of mind, and we still can investigate a lot of those cases and find out the natural causes way more reliable than what you would say. Now, it's not to deny that you didn't have the experience or that it wasn't that, but I still just think you have an experience that's questionable and unknown, and I would think the control there with having your perception changed is going to be, like Dan said, a really big factor in that. And to kind of piggyback on what he's saying, my experiences, I've thought things that weren't there like 80% of the time in those circumstances, right? But so I would say that would be the deception of your mind. And look at an optical illusion book, right? That's all you got to look at real quick to figure out your mind can play some pretty crazy tricks on you. So.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, Kevin, if aliens are real and if abductions are real and if this is happening, like there has to be other evidence besides, a story of two friends who saw something one time when they were smoking together. Like that. I mean, it just has to be that way. That it's statistically, it wouldn't make sense if this was the only instance where that would happen, I would think, but I don't know. You'd have to tell me. But anyway, I'm sorry to be that guy, Kevin. I don't like being that guy, but to like shoot people down. But like that's just how I feel about it. But I'll give you one quick chance to respond here before we get to our next call.
No problem. Thanks, you guys. No, I just wanted to have some fun with you. This was a great show, and shout out to Neil604 Atheist. I'm looking forward to talking to him next month.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Neil's awesome. I like to just joke around and say he's my internet dad. So.
Dude, Neil is the best. He has been supporting Truth Wanted almost since its inception. Like he's been a patron for a long time. Love Neil. He's super cool. Glad we got to shout him out this week. Thanks so much for calling, Kevin. Appreciate it. And, look forward to hearing from you again. I love me some Neil, man.
Yeah, I've gotten like so many people like, are you like his son? I'm like, we don't even live in the same country, but it's
the beard, isn't it?
It's the long hair and the beard and the
attitudes
the
about life.
Yeah, the atheism, I guess. I don't know.